This is a review of the 7 paint pour paintings that I have made, in hopes that in the future I can post more videos of how they were made. These paint pours were made with acrylic paints. The metallic ones were from folk art paints, which I find work better than apple barrel. This one that is being presented now was made with apple barrel pinks, yellows, oranges, whites, and reds. The painting you're seeing now was made with a combination of apple barrel matte finish paints and folk art gold metallic paints and blue metallic paints. Folk art paints seem to be sturdier and allow for cellular movement far better than the apple barrel paints. For some reason the apple barrel paints don't move as well after a period of time. This is mostly apple barrel paint, matte finish with lime, green, yellow, pink, and slight gold. As you can see here, this apple barrel paint with a Deco Art Flow medium does not have a whole lot of cells on it. This is the pouring medium from Deco Art. I find it actually quite hard to work with because it seems to almost appear like a thickening, which also doesn't move very well after a while. This painting was made, please excuse the glare, this painting was made with folk art metallic, Christmas green, bright red, sapphire blue, purples, gold, and white. And as you can see, there is a lot of cellular movement here. I also used dimethicone to help with the cells, and it seems to work much better than the apple barrel paints. Please excuse the unsteadiness of the picture. This was my very first paint pour. It was made with Deco Art paints, folk art paints with metallic, amethyst, gunmetal gray, sterling silver, antique copper, antique gold, and a sapphire blue. In this case, I did not have any pouring medium, and I had some trouble getting the paint to move all the way to the edge. And also I had some problems with the thickness of paint, which at the time I didn't realize I could manipulate as well as I do now. This painting was made with a combination of apple barrel white and folk art metallics antique gold. There's a cobalt blue and rose gold. And this one reminds me, of course, of a satellite and a landmass under clouds and water. At this point, I stopped using a pouring medium, and I went back to the folk art paint with metallic colors. And I laid down on the canvas before I made it some Saks Acrylic Gloss Medium, just to help with the paint flow to get to the edge of the canvas, because I find that these canvases, which I bought from Walmart in a pack of 6 for $12.69, had a rough tooth to it, and it was stopping the paint from moving smoothly, and I had some problems with some of my paintings looking like a mass of wide stripes. And of course, as you can see, the cell movement is back into the painting better than the previous ones that I was using with the apple barrel. I also primed the canvas with white, apple barrel white, which is why there's so much white in this one. I don't know how much on the camera it's showing up, but these paintings really have quite a quality to them of glowing where the metallic paints are, and it really is quite beautiful. This is my Saks True Flow Acrylic Gloss Medium. I find this works quite well and dries quite nicely. I've had it for quite some time, so I would not be able to give you a price on it, but I like the way this one works. And this is the one I used to prime the canvas with the satellite picture. And this is my Liquitex Satin Varnish Medium, which I also used to help my paint move. And I used that on a couple paintings. It actually worked quite well. Then this is my Deco Art Pouring Medium from Hobby Lobby, which you can see I paid $20 for. 64 ounces. I was not crazy with the way this one was acting on me, and I'm not sure what to do to fix it. These are some of the metallic folk art paints that I used. This color, the metallic gold, is very pretty and very close to a real gold color. This metallic Christmas green, when it shows up in a painting, reflects almost like little flecks of jewels. The mica powder is very pretty in there. This is the sapphire blue, which has a very, very pretty shine to it. It's not quite as jewel-like as the green, but very pretty. This is the metallic silver, sterling silver, which comes in the 8-ounce bottle and in the 2-ounce bottle. I bought this at Walmart's for, I can't remember, about $2.50, I think, or $3. I can't remember what it was. Might have even been $4, because I paid $2 for some and $4 for the other ones. This one is my rose gold, which I also paid about $4 for. This one is my metallic, this one is my metallic antique gold. I also paid about $4 for that. Now I did buy a quantity of apple barrel white. I use this to prime my canvases. I also use it in different ways diluted so that I can create cells in the other paints. It's really a stock paint. This is my apple barrel stock black, which I also use the same way I do the white, because there's large quantities of the white and black that are being used. I went ahead and bought a stock of it. This is the brand dimethicone that I use. It is a synthetic silicone. This is called coconut milk. And the cells that came out of this are the ones that you saw in the aqua water-like picture, and also in the metallic copper painting. This is the aqua painting that I was telling you about. As you can see, the cells are quite large in here and create some movement and canals and rivers, which I really like the texture changes of. And this is the copper sea painting that I showed you earlier, where you can see some of the cells that became quite irregular and different and showing different textural changes. Please excuse the sheen on here, as it's hard to photograph down here because the light is so low. As you can see, really a texture of cells here. And when you see the texture on a dry painting, you really do see little pits that are created by the cells. There's some of that pretty green that I was telling you about earlier. There you go. Very pretty. Very pretty cell movement that was created by the dimethicone. I will say that you do have to clean your paintings after you use the dimethicone, because the dimethicone will rise out of your acrylic painting. And so it's really a good idea to make sure that you clean those, especially if you plan on selling them or giving them away. They can be wiped off, but they really need to be cleaned. Sorry about the focus going in and out. These are the 12 by 16 canvases that I got from Walmart. The canvases are, if you can tell, the canvases are about a 1/2 inch wide. And I find that the canvas itself is kind of rough. As I said earlier, it really should be primed before you use it, or you may have trouble moving your paint around the canvas. I did so priming it with black once and priming it with white. And also I also put a flow medium from Saks on one of mine. This is brush cleaner I use on my brushes. This is the Masters brush cleaner and preserver, which will really help getting the paint off of your brushes. It's kind of got a little bit of a grit to it, so it can wash and scratch some of the paint off. These are my mixing cups. I use Great Value bathroom cups, which only cost me a couple dollars, about 100 of them in a package. And they're about 2.5, 3 inches tall. I tried using them as a flip cup, but I was not happy with the restraint that they caused on the paint from moving freely. I find that the bigger cups, which I used in the original paintings, the earlier ones, these regular drink size cups, work much better. And I think it's because the top of the cup allows a larger frame for the paint to settle as it's coming down to the canvas. And then when you pick it up, it's already got a head start on flowing outward. Those cups cost me just a couple dollars for a pack of 100 also. Now I cover my work surface area with this paper. It's got a little bit of a sheen or a wax, a little bit on one side, but it will not last very long. I find that 1 or 2 uses, all depending on how I move my paintings around, is really enough. And as you can see, as you allow the paint to move on your canvas, of course it drips down to the paper. You get a little peek at how many different colors I've got down there. It will soak into the paper and cause the paper to tear. So if you can, I would rather use plastic. Even though there is a wax on the back of this paper, I would rather use plastic. And I probably will get a piece of some later. As I give you a tour of some of the colors that I use, I hope that you enjoyed my video. I know it's a little shaky, but I don't really have a tripod for my phone. I'm using a Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. And these are some of the colors that I've used in the paintings that I've shown you. If you'd like to purchase them, I've gotten most of them from Walmart's. The apple barrel paints, why I don't like the way they move, are a very cheap way to start, as they're only about 50 cents a tube. And the folk arts can be a little more expensive, but I find the quality of the movement is much better. This is a pretty paint. It's a light, to get the focus in there. Oh, it's not focusing. Excuse me. It's a light blue. And then here's an amethyst color. For some reason it's not focusing very well, but you can see the color. It's very pretty. And these are the metallics that I use. This is the bright red I was telling you about. There you go. Well, I will post again later. I hope you have learned something that you could use, and I hope it goes well for you. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.